Welcome to Adult ypww Lesson 7. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's topic is Faith on Trial. The lesson text is coming out of John chapter 18, verses 28 through 40. The memory verse. I will read the King James Version first and then the New International Version of John chapter 18, verse 28. Then led they Jesus from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early. And they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. The New International Version. Then the Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanness, they did not enter the palace, because they wanted to be able to eat the Passover. The governing of any group of people anywhere is a tremendous task. Judicial systems are put in place to help leaders govern the citizens that they serve. In some countries, laws and judicial statutes are updated periodically. These revisions of laws are generally for the good of everyone concerned. Court trials are the events used to determine a person's guilt or innocence. The civil court systems settle disputes among citizens. The criminal court systems prosecute and punish those who have committed crimes. Court proceedings can be lengthy, taking years of convening or short term, with settlements determined within days, weeks, or months. When a person is sued, legal actions are taken against them to obtain something they possess or to be compensated for a wrong act they committed. Providing evidential documentation, being on a witness stand, and testifying before a judge or jury can all be traumatic experiences. Such was the case of our Savior, Jesus Christ. His trial was undoubtedly an exciting event. What were the charges brought against him? Who were the judges in his case? What happened at the proceedings? We will answer all of these questions this week. Our text found in John chapter 18, verses 2 through 44, records the trial of Jesus Christ. The judicial leaders of these court proceedings were responsible for hearing the charges brought against Christ. However, history has proven they were not forthright or fair in managing his case. Tyranny is defined as the cruel use of power over others. The Roman rulers in our text today were tyrannical oppressors. They exercise absolute power, often cruelly and unjustly. Jesus was charged with blasphemy, which is defined as disrespect for the things of God. His claim to be the Son of God was considered sinful. Jesus was also arrested for being a malefactor, which means troublemaker, criminal, and wrongdoer. With all of these charges combined, the accusers had enough grounds to pursue their case against Jesus. Within the Jewish legal system, there were no laws or statutes that could be used for death as they desired. Therefore, they brought Jesus to the Roman authorities to have him tried and executed. Then Jesus' judgment hall experiences began. After being arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus was bound and taken to 3 different Roman leaders to be tried. He was brought to Annas, to Caiaphas, to the Roman governor Pontius Pilate, to King Herod, and then back to Pontius Pilate, who lastly gave his death sentence. Our memory verse is the judgment hall experience of Jesus on his way to be interviewed by Pilate. Jesus' accusers brought him to the Roman governor, but did not go into the Roman judgment hall themselves. They wanted to adhere to their legalistic laws that stated that no Jew could enter a court of the Gentiles on Passover if they wanted to participate in the Passover event. The trials of Jesus were tainted with mockery and injustice. He was innocent of all criminal charges brought against him. Pilate knew that the accusations alleged against Jesus were false. Therefore, he declared openly 3 times that he had found no fault in Jesus. However, because of the strong determination and desires of the Jewish enemies of Jesus, Pilate gave in to their wishes and sentenced him to death. In a last resort effort to save Jesus, Pilate offers the Jewish community a trade-off deal according to their customs. This deal was to release a prisoner as an act of compassion. The ruling majority, voice of the Jewish crowd, did not want to receive this opportunity to release Jesus. Instead, they wanted another prisoner released to them. They cried, "Give us Barabbas," even though he was a well-known criminal. Biblical scholars agree that the enemies of Jesus paid this jeering crowd to cry out against his release. If Pilate had the honesty and courage that judges should have, perhaps he would not have made the decision he did. Wanting to please all sides of this political case, he decided to be a coward rather than by the rules of equality. We will examine the case against Jesus Christ. Why was he persecuted? What were the charges filed against him that resulted in a death sentence? Judgment Hall journey back and forth from Annas, Caiaphas, Pilate, and Herod will also be reviewed. Students will learn about the court proceedings and judicial tyranny Jesus faced before his journey to Calvary. The questions for today's lesson. Number 1. Jesus is charged unjustly and is innocent. Have you ever been falsely accused of any act or behavior that someone claimed you committed that was not true? Number 2. Laws and the judicial systems of the world are essential. Give several reasons why this statement is true. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.